Hey, this is Randy from Funeral Funds of America. In this video, I'm going to share with you the actual pricing for $5,000 worth of burial, cremation, final expense, life insurance, or funeral funds for a 64-year-old female. Now, first thing I recommend is going directly to our website at funeralfunds.com. And we've got these free quoters on just about every page. And all you need to do is just click the state that you live in, select that. We are licensed in all 50 states, by the way. Select the coverage amount you'd like, put your birthday in there, fill out the rest of the info, click Get Quotes Now. It will take you to a page that's going to show you all the best insurance companies with all the lowest pricing based off your age, gender, and the state that you live in. Take full advantage of that. That way you'll be able to see all the pricing and you'll be a much smarter shopper. You can also call us directly at 888-862-9456, and one of our agents can help you with anything you need over the phone as well. Now, the first thing we always recommend to a 64-year-old female looking for $5,000 worth of insurance is just to consider, is $5,000 going to be enough to pay for your final expenses? Now, final expenses would typically be cremation or burial. So let's talk cremation right off the bat. There's kind of two ways to go there. First, you can have a cremation where you're just going to come home in a cardboard box or an urn. That's going to be between $1,000 to $2,000. And then secondly, you can have a cremation that's got some sort of a ceremony with it as well. And typically that's going to be in the $3,500 to $4,500 range on average, depending what part of the country you live in. So we would recommend coverage amounts differently for each of those options. So for the one option where you just have the cremation where you come home in a cardboard box or an urn, we would typically recommend and help people with around $5,000 to $7,000 worth of coverage. Now, you're probably going, well, Randy, you said cremation is going to be $2,000, but you're recommending $5,000 coverage. What's going on there? And just got to keep in mind that, our 64-year-old female probably wants to make it to age 74 and even 84. And, we know prices are going to be higher in the future due to inflation. So by getting a little bit more coverage than we need right now, we're inflation-proofing the plan well into the future. And that way the family members don't have to worry about having to come up with money in the future. We're also locking in the rates at the youngest age right now, by the way, which is really beneficial as well. And then also by getting a little bit more insurance than we need now to just make sure that there's enough money for inflation, there's a little bit more coverage than necessary right now. And that can be used to pay off any other final expenses like medical bills or credit cards or something like that, that if given the gift of time, you would have normally paid those off, but if you die too early, it will help pay those off as well. So you really protect long-term against inflation and short-term against extra expenses. Now for the cremation where you're going to have the ceremony, we would typically help people with maybe between $7,000 to $10,000. And again, that's inflation proofing on the long end, providing extra funds on the short end, just in case you died sooner than you thought, and just protects your family from other expenses. Now, if you're going to have a burial, the average cost of a burial right now in the United States is right around $10,000. So, if you walk into pretty much any funeral home in the United States with a check for $10,000, they should help you out. It's hard to imagine they wouldn't. But, if they said no, then you could just walk out the door and walk 2 blocks down the street to one of their competitors, and I'm sure they would work with you. But just understand that if you get $10,000 right now, that covers the most immediate needs right now, but it is not inflation-proofing the plan because that's just kind of the most immediate needs right now. So what we would typically help people with is anywhere between $10,000, $15,000, maybe even $20,000 for some people, just depending kind of how fancy or elaborate they want their final arrangements to be. So, the purpose of this video is $5,000. So why would people do $5,000? Well, if you're looking at $5,000 for a burial and you don't have any other insurance, it's not going to do you any good. It'll get you halfway there, but certainly not going to pay everything. One reason a lot of people would get $5,000 is maybe they had some existing insurance. Maybe they had $5,000 or $7,000 or $10,000 before, and that was enough at the time they got that insurance, but they've been blessed to live a long time, and now they know that that is not enough, so they just want to add a little bit more coverage. So we help people with that all the time. That's very normal to do that. Some people will, however, say that, hey, I want to get this insurance for my final expenses, but I also want to leave money for the kids. So I might want to get $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And let's just say it's $50,000. And we show them that pricing. And based off their age 64, it's just maybe out of their budget because most of the people we help are on a fixed or limited income. So we are budget we have budget mindfulness here working at Funeral Funds of America. And let's say they're on a fixed or limited income, Social Security, disability, and that 50,000 is just too much. Sometimes people will say, well, if I can't do the entire 50,000, I'm not going to do anything at all. And we just have to let them know that they originally came and wanted help for the final expenses, and it would have been nice to add some money for the kids. So let's go ahead and do that first. Let's take care of the final expenses first, because we know you're going to die. Everybody dies. So let's get that taken care of first, because if you don't, then the kids are going to end up having to pay that themselves. And chances are they're going to have to put it on credit cards and pay 26% interest. And it's going to take them years and years to pay. So at least get your final expense, burial, cremation insurance taken care of. And then what we can help you do later is follow up with a separate policy for the kids. And then that way you can easily fit both of those into your budget. By the same token, if you're in a little bit better financial situation, you want to get them all at once and wrapped into one policy, we can certainly help you out with that as well. Now, one thing we always recommend getting is first day coverage or benefits. We do not recommend those plans with 2-year waiting periods. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what first day coverage means is that hypothetically, if your plan were issued and approved today and you died tomorrow, the insurance company would have to write out that check for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, whatever the coverage amount is. That's going to be the best coverage at the lowest pricing. Now, sometimes people will say, you're right, Randy, I do like that first day coverage. However, I've heard they ask health questions and I'm not in the best of health and I'm worried I may not qualify, to which we say, hey, that's our concern, not your concern, at least from an insurance standpoint, because we work with a lot of different insurance companies. They all ask different health questions. They all have different underwriting. And right now we're getting people, on average, 90 to 95% of the time, we're getting people first day coverage or benefits. So we're terrific at what we do. Really, the only reason we wouldn't be able to get you first day coverage is if you just waited too long and you had some really significant health issues going on. Like maybe you had a terminal illness and you were going to live less than 12 months, or you had dementia, or you're on dialysis, or in a hospital, or in a nursing home. If that were the case, we'd typically refer you off to a different insurance company. Another thing that seems to happen on a weekly basis is somebody will call us and say, hey, we had a family member pass away this last week and they didn't have insurance. We don't have any money. Their body's down at the funeral home. The funeral home director is not going to do anything until he gets a check in his hand. So we need to get this insurance really quick so we can get the funeral home paid. And we have to let them know that there is no insurance company in the United States that's going to offer a policy on a dead person, right? You have to be alive to qualify for this insurance. And it's really sad that they had a family member pass away, but it's doubly sad that their family member didn't have any insurance. They knew they were going to die someday. They just didn't know when. And then they put this off and put this off and put this off. They probably shopped for it. They put it off. And then one day they just went and died. And now here their family's kind of trying to figure out a way to take care of this. And most of the time that means they're going to have to put it on a credit card and pay 26% interest and take years to pay off. And what a terrible legacy to leave behind. You could have done everything else right in life, and you get this one thing wrong, and you make somebody else pay for something that's not their responsibility, and that's your new legacy. So yeah, just be better than that. This insurance is affordable. Get it now before you need it, and it'll be there when you actually do need it. Now, one thing we don't recommend is those plans with 2-year waiting periods. And Colonial Penn is one of those companies. Their $9.95 plan, if you're not aware, that's the one that's advertised on TV all the time. Seems like they're playing it every 7 minutes on the TV. Their $9.95 plan is a 2-year waiting period policy. Ouch. Ouch, right? You probably didn't know that. But yeah, Colonial Penn, they're not the only one to offer those plans. There's other companies out there, Mutual of Omaha, their United of Omaha line, AIG, Gerber. Gosh, there's just so many other companies out there that's the only thing they offer is a 2-year waiting period. And yeah, you want to avoid those. Now, some of these companies have done an amazing job of convincing the American public that if you're over age 50, the only thing you're going to qualify for is a plan with a 2-year waiting period, to which we always say, don't believe such nonsense, because we help people with first day coverage all day long. Now, our 64-year-old female is probably thinking she's going to get some really good $9.95 insurance. She watched that TV commercial. It was awfully slick. It looks so good, and she's fairly convinced at age 64, she's probably going to get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, maybe even $50,000 for only $9.95. And then she calls Colonial Penn and talks with one of their agents, or gets online and looks at their price like we're doing for you right now, and sees that a female age 64 is only going to get 1 unit of coverage, which is $9.95. 1 unit of coverage is going to be, it's only going to pay $1,313. Now, that may be enough for a cremation in some parts of the country. I know that's not enough for a cremation in all parts of the country. So maybe 40% maybe of the country. But here's the deal. If it's enough right now, it's got a 2-year waiting period. It's not going to pay out right now. It's not going to pay out in the next 2 years if you die of a health or medical reason. It's got a 2-year waiting period. So, why would you get a plan, regardless of the price, regardless if it's $9.95? Why would you get a plan if it's just not going to provide enough coverage for what you need, and it's not going to provide first aid coverage? So, yeah, we just recommend avoiding that. Now, there's some people out there that say, hey, some of these companies offer these teaser rates, and they're meant to kind of tease you to get your information in. And once they have your information, then they will put you in their marketing funnel, and then they will start calling you day and night, and whatever marketers do. But some people would say that the companies don't even want to sell these really low $9.95 plans because the coverage is so low. But what they do is they use that to get your information, and then when they get you on the phone, then they try upselling you to more expensive coverage, which is much more profitable for them. So we would never say Colonial Penn would do anything like that, but there's some people out there who kind of think that, and I guess you'll have to formulate your own opinion based off the fact that $9.95 is only going to buy $1,313 worth of coverage. But this video is for $5,000, so let's see if we can get close to $5,000. I'm going to guess that's maybe 4 units or 3 units. Yeah, 4 units, that's as close as we're going to get because it's price per unit. I'll show you here. 3 units is going to be less than $4,000. So we're kind of stuck. You got to go with their units because they don't sell by coverage amount. They sell by units. That's how they can sell for $9.95. And when they sell by units, you always end up with these really wackadoodle numbers like $5,252. I'm not sure what the 252 is for, but this is $40 basically. So let's do this. Let's see what first aid coverage would cost and how much you can save. And I know we're going to save quite a bit. So we've got 5,000. We need a female, 5,000 female, age 64 right here, and click get quote. It'll pull those numbers up. Again, 5,000 roughly is $40 here. And if we look at this, roughly $20, half price. And depending on the insurance company, we always don't recommend, just one versus the other because you may have a health condition that this company won't approve for. So then we would maybe move right up to this one. And it's pretty much within $1, within $1.04. So just keep in mind kind of this top 3, depending on your age and your health and your kind of medical condition, we can help you understand which one may be best. But let's go back here because it's going to be basically 5,000 for $40, or you could get 5,000 for $21. So this is what we normally see with Colonial Penn. Normally they are right at about 200% more expensive, plus or minus, but they're typically 200% plus or minus more expensive than companies that offer first aid coverage. And if you look at this level here, level means first day coverage. So let's just do the math on this. Colonial Penn, you're going to overpay on Colonial Penn. In this case, you're going to overpay $20 a month for the rest of your life. And you're going to get socked with that 2-year waiting period. So let's do the math on that. $20 a month times 12 months would be $240. If our 64-year-old female makes it to age 74, you have overpaid right around $2,400 by going with Colonial Penn and over a 10-year period. And you're going to get that 2-year waiting period. And you're going to keep overpaying. If you live another 20 years, it's going to be right around $4,800. So we just never recommend overpaying for insurance when you can get first aid coverage at lower pricing, like significantly lower, like half price, right? So just what we recommend you do is just be a smart consumer, reach out to us. We can help you understand your options, help you get the lower pricing, and just save money from here on out. There's no way if you were walking down the sidewalk and you had your wallet and There's a bunch of people walking and you just open your wallet, pull out $2,400 and throw it on the sidewalk and walk away and let everybody pick it up. You would never do that. Why would you do that with an insurance company? Why would you just throw money in their parking lot? Kind of a good analogy there. But let's take a look. You'll be able to see all the different insurance companies. Let's find maybe one more. Oh, here's one. Lincoln Heritage. Fine company, I guess, but look at their pricing, quite a bit higher, right? 30% higher, right? Level coverage. So yeah, I mean, we can get it for $20 from another insurance company. They're going to charge $30. Why is that more expensive though? Well, they've got a deal where when you pass away, they will supposedly call 2 or 3 different funeral homes to get you the lowest pricing, and then maybe do a couple other things, but they don't do that for free. They charge for that. There's a fee for that. And let's just do the math on it, because that's basically $30 versus basically $20. So $10 more a month, and that would be $10 a month times 12 months is $120 times 10 years. Our 64-year-old female would be 74. You'd end up overpaying $1,200. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth paying an insurance company $1,200 to call 2 or 3 funeral homes and maybe do a couple other things that might only take an hour or so to do? A lot of people would say that's a pretty good payday for the insurance company, $1,200 an hour. We don't recommend doing that. We recommend you save money. Keep that money in your own pocket. And then what we do is we offer a free funeral and estate planning guide. You can download that off our website. You can download that for free. And once it's downloaded, just print it out and then fill it out. Write down who gets what goes where, and what you want to happen after you're gone. And then keep that with your insurance policy. And that way, when you pass away, your family members will be able to go there and they'll be able to see that they're not only protected financially with the insurance policy, but emotionally with the funeral and estate planning guide. And all they'll have to do is open that funeral and estate planning guide and just start reading, and then just follow through and execute your wishes. And they will know that you not only loved and protected them in life, but you actually loved and protected them in death, exactly at a time when they would need it the most, when you weren't there, but you took care of this in advance. What a wonderful legacy to leave behind. They will know that you truly did love them. So if you want to leave that legacy behind, go to funeralfunds.com. We do have a special quote for our YouTube viewers, funeralfunds.com/YouTube, where you'll be able to get the best companies at the lowest rates at significant discounts. Take full advantage of that. Just run your info. You'll be able to see how competitive we can get the pricing and get you that lowest pricing. You can also call us at 888-862-9456. One of our agents can help you over the phone. Now, so if you've got an existing policy, insurance policy, and you want to price shop it just to make sure you got the lowest deal, or you want to add coverage to it, we can help you out with that. If you're looking for a brand new policy, or you just want help understanding your options or have some other questions, we can help you out with that. But we look forward to helping you get the most amount of coverage for the least amount of money. We will be blessed to help you with that at some point in the future. Until that day comes, you stay safe, you take care, you have a nice day. Bye-bye.